Louise here today for Lawn Fawn and welcome back to the channel. Today I have a birthday card to share with you all. I'm using the Be Happy stamp set, the Open Me stamp set, as well as the Cloudy Hillside pop-up dies. I'm not going to use them as a pop-up die, but I'm just going to use them as a border. So I'm going to start off by stamping out all of my images onto some white cardstock, as well as the sentiment inside of the little sign and inside of the little like speech bubbles, and then I'm going to start colouring. So I'm starting off with my favourite green combination, YG17, YG07, YG23 and YG01. And then moving on to another green combo, I'm using G28, YG67, YG63 and YG61. And then I'm moving on to another green combination. I really wanted to make sure that I used a lot of different greens on this card today since it's going to be predominantly green. So I'm using G29, G24, G21 and G43 for the last peas and a few of the leaves as well. Once I finish colouring in all the green elements, I'm moving on to bringing in a few other combinations of colours as well. So I'm using some brown for the signs, like wooden pole, I think. So I'm using E47, E44, E43 and E42. I'm then using some pinks for the party hat. I'm then moving on to some blues or some aquas. I'm using some yellows and also some oranges. And then once I finish colouring in all these elements, I thought that I needed to bring those colours in a little bit more, so I do pull in another stamp set a little later on as well. I'm then using some W markers to make the white areas appear more white. So I'm using W1, W0, W00 and also 0. And then lastly, I'm using R30 for their little cheeks. I believe there is a little stamp in the set that does this, but I really just wanted to stick with the theme of Copics. So here is when I decided that I needed a few more images, so I pulled out my favourite party animal stamp set and stamped the little balloon and the present, also the hearts and the ice creams, just to add in a little bit more pops of colour and also just to add in a few more images to make the scenes feel complete. So here I'm just sort of arranging all of my images together to sort of see how I want my scene to like finish off as, because when you have a lot of images like this, it's hard to sometimes visualize how you would like your scene to look. So something that I really love to do is just to pull out all of the images once I've cut them all out and just arrange them sort of in a rough way, just to see that if I like the way that it's gonna look, or if I need more images, or whether or not I need to change up the design that I thought I was going for. Here I decided that I really liked the way it looked, even though it doesn't necessarily end up in the exact same manner, but I at least know that all of my images are going to fit, and I really like the way it looks and whether like my design that I had in my head is going to indeed work. So once I know that that's going to work out, I move on to the other elements. So here I'm working on the background for my card. So I am just taking a piece of watercolor cardstock since I find it easiest to blend on, and I'm using some Distress Oxide inks to blend a background. Not all of this background is going to show, a lot of it is going to be covered up by the cloudy borders, but I'm doing mainly the whole background anyway, just to make sure that enough is covered. So I used peeled paint, twisted citron and scattered straw for my background, and then I'm just blending them all together and then working in reverse to make them more vibrant and to blend even further. Once my background is all completed, I am going to splatter it with a little bit of water just from a spray bottle, pick it up with some paper towel and also dry it off with a heat tool so everything can adhere down to it easily later on. Now my background is all complete, I went ahead and cut out some cloudy borders using those cloudy border dies that I showed earlier, and I just cut one for to be at the top of the card and also for the bottom of the card. I added frame tape onto the tops and the bottom pieces and adhered them into place. And I really like how the green colour is going to show through in the centre, and then there's going to be a white cloud on the top and bottom. Even though I don't think the clouds make a lot of sense, I just really love how the layout worked out. So I'm going to remove the backers from the adhesive and adhere it down into place. Now I'm going to work on assembling my card. So I have here the little sign from Open Me with the birthday stamped onto it, and I'm going to adhere down the happy sentiment on top. So I'm using this glue tube liquid adhesive, which I've finally gotten my hands on. I absolutely love it. And I'm going to adhere down this little happy sentiment just on top, and then I'm going to add foam tape onto the bottom and adhere it into place. And then I decided to speed up me assembling the card together, just because I think it's sometimes really nice to see how a card comes together, and I thought that this one was a little bit different than what I've done before, and so I thought I would include it and just speed it up a ton. So I adhered all 3 of those little peas together, or the pea pods I guess together, just using some tape adhesive, and then I tied a bow using some lawn trimmings just to sort of like adhere them all together. I think it just adds another texture onto the card, which is really fun. I added some liquid glue and also some foam tape onto the back and adhered it into place. And then I'm using the same glue tube adhesive to add on those little viney pieces and things, so I adhered them behind the little pea pods as well. I also adhered down the balloon from Party Animal and also the little speech bubble that says Yippee as well. I'm then arranging all of these individual peas at the bottom of the card and just adding the additional leaves in and the presents and the ice creams and also a couple of the hearts as well. I also adhered a heart next to the sentiment just because I thought that looked fitting. I then finished off with just adding the last few little vines into place and also the last speech bubble that just says yay as well. And I really like how the little scene turned out. It's sort of whimsical and fun, and I just think it's a really cute birthday card. So this finishes up the entire card for today. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed. All of the supplies will be listed down below and over at the blog, and I will see you all next time. Thank you so much for stopping by today.